everybody. Welcome to the show. Tonight we are discussing episodes 3 and 4 of HBO's The Last of Us. There are going to be spoilers here, so if you are not caught up, turn this off now because we're going to get into big ones right off the jump here, folks. We're going to start off talking episode 3, The Path. Now, we knew we were going to have to see some immediate aftermath, some immediate reactions to the untimely death of Joel. And we know that at the very least, we were going to need to see how Ellie was going to react to this. A big chunk of this season is going to deal with her dealing with these unresolved feelings that she has. A lot of stuff that wasn't said between the two of them, the way that their relationship was left off, and her now just in the midst of her revenge, seeing red, not wanting much of anything else. Getting to see Ellie's reaction of just pain, distraught, and broken in half. It's truly heartbreaking. And you have to understand that this is happening right after the town was sieged by all those infected. So they're still dealing with so many other things right now. And even though we know Joel was one part of our main character, it doesn't change the fact that's important to us, but that doesn't mean that that's important to all these other residents that are in Jackson. They are not us. They're not seeing things through our eyes. And so seeing Ellie's reaction to this is just absolutely heartbreaking. And that's juxtaposed to seeing Tommy's reaction to where, again, Tommy has to help lead this town, and he finds out that his brother is dead. And after everything that went down in the day before there, how the hell do you put all of that on your shoulders and still continue to go on? There's some very, very strong scenes that are absolutely going to elicit a few tears. I'm actually struggling to hold back the emotion while I'm thinking about it in my head here right now. But it is truly, truly some of the best acting we've seen in the show. Bella Ramsey and Gabriel Luna turning on some real clinics with this. You know, I mentioned that Bella Ramsey was really, really going to have to show a lot of leadership here moving forward. He was going to have to take a big, big step because he is now the lead of this show. He has to step up and take over a lot of what Pedro Pascal was able to bring. And based on what we get to see in bits and pieces throughout this episode, I definitely think they're more than up to the task on that. So great work, Bella Ramsey. Great work, Gabriel Luna on this one. I'm excited to see more. But then we end up moving on 3 months later. Again, I know we're following the concept of the game, but from a storyline perspective, that's likely smart because we're in a post-apocalyptic world. It's not like Ellie's just going to be able to get right on up and go on revenge right away. We have to be realistic about this. And so when she's finally healed up, before she can even begin to think about going out and getting revenge, she ends up being forced to spend time with Gail, the town's psychotherapist. Joel was spending some time with her before his death as well. And this goes along with Tommy spending some time with Gail as well too, because the two of them, they do have the same goals in mind, but they both are coming at it very, very differently. Ellie knows for a fact that she screwed up with Joel, and that even though she doesn't necessarily know what that secret was, what Joel's hiding, and that caused the huge rift between them, she knows that holding that anger, holding that resentment to him and just letting it fester and grow and grow and grow to where there was this just colossal rift that wasn't able to be resolved, that's weighing heavy on her mind. Some of the things that she said to him the last time that she saw him, how could that not be weighing on your mind after he's killed in such a terrible, terrible way? And I think that even though she says it so flippantly and so errantly to Gail about how she's feeling about the entire situation, I still think that that's progress, because how many people are realistically going to actually voice that and they're going to put that out there? They really would have to be pushed and broken down more and more to actually get to that point. And for Ellie, like, she gets it out because she just wants to get out of here. She knows that she's not in the perfect state of mind, but she can't stay around and keep doing what's going on. Whereas Tommy is very clearly and rightfully so worried that Ellie's going down the same path that Joel did. That when Joel's daughter died, he kind of shut himself off and became this rough, gruff, and tough man. And we've heard about some of the terrible things that he and Tommy, but especially he, ended up having to do. And Tommy doesn't want that for Ellie. You know, Ellie is she's an adult now at this point, but Tommy still wants Ellie to have a chance to lead some kind of different life. And he wants revenge for what happened to Joel, but he wants it done the right way because he has to look out for the town. And this leads to where the town has to hear Ellie and has to hear arguments on whether or not they can send a squad to Seattle, where Abby and her WLF like friends are from. And unfortunately for Ellie, the town doesn't end up like voting in her favor. But interestingly enough, Seth, the person that caused the ruckus at the dance right before Joel's death, ends up being the only person to really back her and say that if they don't go and do something about this now, it basically sends a message that people can continue to do this and there aren't any repercussions, that nobody will stand upside the law for everything that's going on. And even though the town votes against it, Seth still ends up setting up Ellie to give her the supplies, the weapons, the food that she needs to make it out there. Because Ellie's going one way or the other. The purpose of bringing it up to the town was just as a courtesy and as a favor to Tommy, who begged her to try to make things and do things the right way that they need to go here. And this is some great interaction we get to see from the town. I really, really hope that even though the game doesn't really give us much more of Jackson as we go out on Ellie's journey, I do hope we get to see a little bit more of the town. And I'd like to see more of them rebuilding and trying to work it all out while Ellie's out on her revenge. Now, Ellie's not out here on her own. Turns out that Dina has decided to join her. Dina's the one who actually found out information on Abby and her friends and where they were after the attack and after Joel's death. And she had been keeping that to herself because she wanted to make sure that Ellie was actually healthy enough to make this decision, because you can't really do this when you're still recovering yourself. We know that in that first season, we were dealing a lot with Fedra showing up and being a huge problem for Joel and Ellie. There was the infected, and then there was also random people who could be absolutely terrible as well. We ran into, a militia or two across the first season. The Fireflies, there were a lot of these different factions. Now, well, some of those factions don't exist anymore. Fedra's not really a thing, and instead this WLF has shown up. The WLF is the Washington Liberation Front, and these are mostly defects from the Fedra crew. We find out that there's another set of folks out there called the Seraphites, who have some kind of religious belief. They have these scars on their faces as well, and they're trying to move from one place to another, and we find that they ultimately get massacred. Now, in the games, both of these factions, the WLF and the Seraphites, are shown to both be at the extreme ends of the spectrum. Neither one is necessarily right, and we are going to get to spend more time with both of these groups as we dive further into the season. But I think this was a great way to deal with the aftermath of Joel's death and give us a little bit of catharsis by seeing the way that Ellie and Tommy react to it, but then also making sure that we're still moving forward and that we're still on the path of Ellie getting that revenge. And that takes us into day one. Now, hence the name, day one actually takes us back a few years from our present time, and we're introduced to a soldier with Fedra named Isaac, who ends up defecting to join the WLF in a pretty extreme fashion by tossing some grenades into a truck that was carrying his entire squad. Now, we don't know his motivation behind that at all, but the conversation that takes place in that truck, which includes Josh Peck, who, we love from Drake and Josh, of course. But some of the conversations that they're having, you can imagine that it's possible that Isaac has become disillusioned with working for Fedra. He doesn't believe in the way that the people are treated and might think that there is a better way of going about it. I'm trying to stay away from the motivations that we might know or get from the games here. But he defects. And we get to see how war continues to change him, because as we get closer to present time, we get to see another situation where Isaac is interrogating a Seraphite that they've captured before he ultimately kills him. And it shows that no matter what Isaac's intentions are, you're still on the wrong side of things and you're still making these choices. And I love that so far we're setting this up with a number of different faces across this season, because obviously we're looking at Ellie going to get her revenge, going to get what she thinks is vengeance, but it really is revenge against Abby and her friends. And we see Isaac, who's on his own quest here, who once probably thought of himself as this good person and has fallen into the extreme as he takes this high post with the WLF as well too. And they're not going to be the only two faces that we see of people who have started off with the right idea and has allowed that to become perverted as they do all of these terrible things. But as we get back to the present time, you get to see more of abandoned Seattle as Ellie and Dina make their way through. And the cinematography here is just absolutely beautiful. It's funny after doing my review of Until Dawn and talking about like the shots they recreated from the game to then talk about that here for a TV show in The Last of Us. But that's kind of the thing. It's not about like creating the same shot with the same monster or a killer or anything like that. Just the imagery of The Last of Us sometimes can just be breathtaking. And we've seen that in both of these games, and seeing it in the TV show as well just adds another dimension to it. The way they are able to create war-torn Seattle after the apocalypse has happened, it looks ripped straight from the game. It is so incredible. And this includes a scene where Ellie and Dina end up at a music store, and Ellie serenades Dina with the cover of Aha's Take on Me. Bella Ramsey has moved firmly into tying with the best version of that song, because I'm just saying, Aha would now be, in my opinion, the worst version of that. And that's still pretty good. If y'all know who is tied with Bella Ramsey for the best version of Take on Me, let me know in the comment section. My only hint I will give you is your sister is going out with Squeak. So if you know it, let me know in the comment section there, y'all. After that, though, we get some brutality here in day one as Ellie and Dina find some leads that take them on to finding some completely eviscerated WLF soldiers. And if we remember in the previous episode to where they found the Seraphites completely massacred, this is supposed to be the opposite of that, to show that both of these factions are capable of some pretty terrible things. And that's even portrayed in the conversation between Isaac and the Seraphite that he had captured, where they're going back and forth about you kill our children, you kill our children, you teach our children to kill, you teach people to do this, and just how it's a complete back and forth nature, and no one ultimately wants to take responsibility. That at the end of the day, they're just looking to fight somebody. They're just looking to do something terrible. And the situation for Ellie gets worse as once she ends up in a scuffle with WLF soldiers and infected, she ends up having to reveal to Dina that she is immune when she has to take a bite to save Dina's life. Now, this takes them over to the theater, which was so cool seeing that because you spend so much time in that theater in the game. So that's cool for them to finally make it. Dina, understandably, is worried sick about what's about to happen and wrestling with the idea of killing Ellie to protect herself. Ellie reveals to her that she is immune. That's not the end of it, though, because Dina then reveals to Ellie that she is pregnant with Jesse's baby. And this makes everything that much more interesting because we know Jesse is aware that Dina and Ellie have an interest in each other. And there's still some unresolved feelings between Jesse and Dina as well, too. So how is this going to work out with the three of them when they eventually all are back there at Jackson? The episode ends off with Ellie and Dina discovering over a radio they stole from WLF soldiers that one of Abby's friends, Nora, is nearby, and the two of them are going to make their way over to her. So these two episodes gave us a chance to really deal with those immediate feelings we had from Joel's death and really get us off into the next adventure. Let me know in the comment section here what you thought of the path in day one. And of course, get subscribed to my link tree at linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to be access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms, the audio-only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for movie rankings and movie reviews throughout the year, my TikTok page for movie reviews, movie news, and movie premieres, my Twitch page for horror gaming, and my Fangoria shop page for a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, y'all. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get those numbers up here. And y'all, we are in May here now. It is the first week of May. And as promised, the first Wednesday of every month, we are headed back to the crypt. So if you've been waiting for me to cover a couple more Tales from the Crypt episodes, folks, you are in luck. I am going to be talking a pair of vampire-filled episodes on our first Wednesday show. So don't miss out on that, y'all. That is coming up. I got plenty of other reviews coming your way as well, too. But my name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.